Ladies and gentlemen, So What Morning Show back in the building. Tuesdays, rmconair.com. You know you need to get at me. Today is a special show. We got guests online, guests on the phone, and of course our crack team is in the building right now. Geoff Brown, Dr. Mark Goulston. Listen, today's show is going to be crazy. I just want to get right to it. Get to your phone lines, 323-965-1600. Of course, this is caller participation. We want to know what's on your mind. If you have questions regarding the issues that we're going to bring up today, please call us, man. We want to keep it fair. We want to keep it honest. We want to keep it respectful. Call us, call us, call us. We don't have all the answers, but we want to engage in the conversation that makes you think outside of what you thought you knew was true. 323-965-1600. So what morning? Now, before I give you guys the topic, you know, as commonplace, I like to hit you upside the head with a couple of books. Here's a book selection for today, and after this book selection, I'm taking a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to intro all my people that's on the line. So, here we go. Close Encounters, Communication in Relationships by Laura K. Guerrero. Now, this book is a little expensive. I bought it at a yard sale for $7, but when I looked it up on Amazon, it's $90.
Yeah,
but
yard sale $7.
But it's a communication book for relationships, intimate relationships. You should check it out. Another one of my favorite books, The Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Now, it's a lot of letters in there. Paramahansa Yogananda. All you have to do is look it up, though. The Autobiography of a Yogi. It's a very, very, very powerful and great book. Like I said, it's the type of book, it's kind of crazy. Can you imagine somebody just banging for their city? You know, like, I'm from Pasadena, you know, and everybody from Pasadena bangs for Pasadena. We rep Dina. Like, people from Philly rep Philly. People from Harlem, I'm repping Harlem.
Chicago.
This is Paramahansa Yogananda repping for India. you know what I mean? It's that kind of book.
Stop sleeping on New Delhi.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of book. You know, he talks about the physicist Bose, the guy who created Bose speakers. Of course, him and Einstein came together with a formula back in the day, a long time ago. So he talks about India's accomplishments, whether in science, spirituality, religion, the whole nine. It's a very, very powerful book. You should check it out. My next book is a book by Kevin Powell.
My boy, shout out to Kevin Powell.
Right? The Black Male Handbook, A Blueprint for Life. Very, very good book. Please check it out. I got to roll through these quickly. Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery, Naeem Akbar. Please go get these books. Check it out. And, of course, if you want a copy of my book, please don't hesitate. Email me at 2319zo1@gmail.com. 2319zo1@gmail.com. Yo, today's show is going to be crazy. I'm taking a quick break. When I come back, I'm going to introduce my special guest in the building along with my panel. It's going to be nuts today. We'll be back in 2.2. Make that a minute. We'll be back in about a minute, and I'll tell you what's cracking after that. Deuces.
Wrong way's ridiculous.
Ladies and gentlemen, So What Morning's back in the building. Let's get to it. Today's topic: state of the black male union. with Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson. I'm going to tell you who this brother is in a moment, man. This is crazy. Also, that's our special guest, Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson, on the line with us right now. But we've also got James Hanna, Truth Paste, on the phone as well. He's in the building. And again, Geoff Brown.
Always.
Comedian extraordinaire, intellectual irritant.
That's it.
As well as
That brother right there?
that brother right
dude,
there.
I love that brother right there.
Yo,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
he's a
yeah,
cold
yeah.
piece of work, man, and we want to bring this information to the streets. And of course, let's not forget our white connection, Lord Whitey Locks, in the building. Dr. Mark Goulston, who always asks the ignorant white question. Today's going to be a little tenuous for you, Doc. He's the author of Just Listen, as well as Real Influence. Welcome back to the show, Doc.
Thank you. Well, I'll try and be ultra ignorant today to make up for all the smarts we're going to be hearing from.
I don't know if you want to be ultra ignorant. Now, let me do this. Dr. Umar Johnson is a nationally certified school psychologist who practices privately throughout Pennsylvania and lectures throughout the country. Umar is a blood relative of Frederick Douglass, the great black abolitionist and orator. Listen, this dude right here is one of the few young brothers, only at 33, one of the few
33?
Yes. One of the few young brothers that I listen to, that I look to for guidance. He is a powerful voice where in our community we see a void. You know, the last strong black man a lot of kids saw was James Evans.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So
The kitchen in the bedroom, Florida. The kitchen in the bedroom.
you feel me? So to be able to have a young voice that's powerful, that's progressive, that's informative, that's inspirational, that's motivational, man, it's my pleasure to welcome the brother. Welcome, Brother Umar Johnson, to the Zo What Morning Show.
Oh, good morning to you guys. Good afternoon to folks on the East Coast where I am. It's an honor to be on the show. And just to clarify, I probably need to brush up the bio a little bit. I'm 38 years old at this point, and also a doctor of clinical psychology.
Wow.
Wow.
And still a young man.
And still at 30, brother, I've heard you speak on YouTube, and to your credit, I had no idea you were 30 anything because of the depth of the way your get down is.
Oh, man, taking off from the free throw line with a blindfold
Oh,
on,
my God,
just dunking.
reverse dunk. Get out the way before you get your career ended.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah.
So Umar and James is on too. Let's get James Hanna on. James?
What up?
What up,
up,
brother
fellas?
James?
Hannah
What's
Dog,
going
what's
on?
up?
How you doing today?
I'm good, sir. What's going on?
Oh, man. Hey, we glad to have you. We glad to have you in here, brother. I appreciate it. Let me do this. You know the rhythm of the show. Brother James Hanna Brother Umar does not right now. So what I like to do is hit people upside the head with questions. Can we do that real quick? As a matter of fact, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we can keep going. Okay, good. All right. This is what we're going to do. I'm just going to hit you upside the head with questions. And I like to do this because this is a State of the Union. First off, let me say this. A lot of people complain about the show that we do.
Who?
Because they think it's imbalanced. They think somehow we favor men. We don't call men to the floor. Well, this is why I'm doing this show. 2013 State of the Black Male Union. What do we need to be accountable for?
Can I say something about the people who have a problem with the way we do our show?
Jeff.
Don't? Oh, okay.
No, go
easy,
ahead,
no.
Jeff. Go ahead.
Watch another damn show. You can do that. Two,
Thanks.
Yeah.
generally,
Yeah.
the people who say that this show is slanted are also the people who don't like anything negative being said about anything to do with their particular group of people. That's you're not listening if you don't think we brothers get it hard. Whitey gets it hard on Whitey. You get it hard.
Whitey gets it hard, and he
gets it
hangs in
hard,
there.
and he comes right back because he gives it hard. But yeah, that's just because you don't want nothing said about you.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start it with the questions.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this is a crazy question right here. Somebody flow with me on here. Why should you never lose, and I'm talking about black men in general.
Okay.
Why should black men never lose their temper with white folk?
I have no idea.
323-965-1600.
Okay.
What would the desegregation of schools or the educational system look like for black men? If we just took black men, maybe black men and women, out of the educational system and put them in a black-run and organized educational system, how would we flourish, black men? That's an interesting question. 323-965-1600. Should the United States, these are questions that I put out on Twitter and Facebook and all of these places. I said, listen, if you want to ask Dr. Umar a question, you should reach out and let us know. Somebody hit me back with this. Should the United States government be brought before the United Nations and charged with crimes against humanity?
No.
Listen to that. 323-965-1600. How is the feminist movement, high divorce rates, welfare, judicial gender bias, and custody battles responsible for the increase of absent fathers in the black community? 323-965-1600.
Did a show just Geoff Brown on that one.
Jesus. Is there an outright assault against the black alpha male? If so, how? A lot of people are hitting us with questions. How does the educational system effeminize and emasculate black men? People want to know these answers. It's very, very, they want to know the answers to these questions, man. And our culture, our situation, we in trouble. So we bring brothers on like this brother right here to answer the questions. I'm going to hit you with this last question, and then we're going to go right into the conversation. Let's just do it.
Right into the get down.
Right into the get down. Right? No, you know what? No more questions. Let's just jump right into it. Dr. Umar, I hit you with a lot of questions, brother. Talk to us about what we need to do to turn our situation around as a culture.
Well, number one, we have to educate our own children. Everything starts with education. And when we speak of education, we're not just talking about teaching children how to read and write and do arithmetic. That is a very narrowly constructed definition of what education is. That is the functional definition of education in a capitalistic society. Public education in America was initiated because business need laborers who were marginally literate.
Come on, man.
That's why
Come
public
on, bro.
education was brought into existence. For African-American children coming out of a legacy of slavery, the role or the purpose of education remained the same, to make sure that they could do some basic reading, writing, and arithmetic so their labor could be properly exploited for big business. So education that we have in America does not educate the whole child.
For worker
it only
ants.
educates them enough so they can go and function, have their labor exploited by big business.
Wow.
When we say that African people have to educate our own African children, we're saying we have to educate the whole child, which includes teaching them, number one, love for self and how to be loyal to their community. That's very important. Why? Because if you teach a child anything else before you teach them loyalty to their own culture, then whatever else you teach them will be used against the best interests of their culture. If you take a look at President Obama, Sister Oprah, Bill Cosby, who's from North Philadelphia, right here as I am, you look at all these great athletes, entertainers, and politicians, many of them, their behavior, and we're not going to demonize them totally because they've all done some good things, but by and large, their behavior has not really been consistent with our best interest. And that's because although they are very, very intelligent, because they were never really taught loyalty to their community, their intelligence is often used to the benefit of other people.
Wow.
Look at President Obama's agenda. It's almost exclusively non-African.
Wow.
Look at Oprah Winfrey's fan base, almost exclusively not African. That is not a coincidence. It's because their talents have been developed to be used for other people and not the benefit of their own. So we got to teach them loyalty before we teach them anything else.
Wow, good
Other
point.
things that are not taught well.
I got a question for you, Doc.
Science. Culture starts with agriculture. Our children are not taught how to grow and take care of themselves by living off the land. That's very important. political and military science. Our children need to be taught what is going on right now in their political and economic time of day. What is Afrikaans? Why is homosexuality and lesbianism so prevalent in society right now? Why was President Obama selected to be the president? Where does AIDS and HIV come from? Why is there mass incarceration war against black males?
Wow.
Why are more than 33% of all of our children growing up in poor households? They need a solid political education.
Man,
then
so Doc,
need a solid economic and financial education.
Dr. Umar,
Also.
let me stop you for 1 second.
I want to say something too.
That was heavy. He dropped it. He took off.
Dude, I love this dude.
I love this dude.
Anytime
So listen, James Hanna, Geoff Brown, Mark Goulston. And Mark, we need your input on this as well. We got full lines on, because I want everybody to be able to interact with some of the callers as well. James Hanna, you had a thought.
I was just going to, everything you said, brother, was deep, deep, deep. The only thing was, can you just say it like it is and say them niggas sold out?
Who sold out?
All the people mentioned on his list.
Oprah, Barack, with the exception of Bill Cosby, these niggas are just selling out. It's more to it than what their education. It's just niggas, all our best and our brightest are completely sold out.
Okay, hold on. Doc.
Geoff Brown.
I had a thought that kind of weaves with that, is a cousin to that. When you say that they were educated first in their professions or their abilities before they were to love their communities, do you think that they would be in the places they are if they were if they had the teaching to love community first? Would they even be those people?
Possibly been, not exactly, but they could have still, because you're dealing with very brilliant people, they could have still been able to realize a degree of success that probably wouldn't be for where they are now, but would be somewhat close to it. See, the issue ultimately becomes, what is more important, my own personal agenda or the greater good of the race?
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, we take we tend to take a selfish outlook on success that basically looks at what's in my own best interest, even if it is against the best interest of my people.
Mark Goulston.
Dr. Umar, it's so good to have you on, and those were very deep thoughts. In terms of, I want your input on this thing. Someone I know had a great quote, and you'll think you know it, but you really don't. And it was, if you give a child a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a child to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. But if you teach a child to learn, you feed him for a lifetime, and he doesn't have to just eat fish. And the idea is, I think we need to focus on how people learn, and how do we get black, white, how do we get our kids to be curious as opposed to focused on having and just doing and keeping busy? How do we make being curious and thinking something that's gratifying as opposed to something that just seems to take too long? Because you can teach till the cows come home, and if they're tuning you out and they're checking their emails and they're texting each other under the table, I don't know what good it does. So I'd love your input on that, and you can trash any of the stuff I just said.
No, sir, I agree with you. First off, we have to understand that education is a function of the 3 R's. Whenever I travel the country and I teach our principals and teachers and school psychologists, I often try to hammer them with the 3 R's. What are the 3 R's of education? Rigor, holding the child accountable academically, motivating them to achieve their best in the classroom. That's the rigor. You want to put demands on them that they can fulfill and that they can handle. Okay? The second one is relevance, though. The instruction got to be relevant. The curriculum got to be relevant. The reason why America's school children, all of them, black and white, but especially the African Americans, are so turned off from learning isn't because they have a problem receiving an education. It's because the education that they are receiving is not keeping pace with the technological development of the society. You cannot expect a child who lives in a technologically sophisticated community to go to a school that is still teaching them on 16th century methods. By and large, many of our children are still being educated with books that their grandparents were educated on. The technology of the classroom in most inner city school districts that serve our children has not kept pace. So for me, I don't really think we have to do a lot to make the children curious.
Wow.
What's the third R? These are great. I got to hear the third R.
In fact, the word education comes from educar, which means to educe or pull out the natural genius that is lying dormant within the child. So even the word education is based on the assumption that they already have it within them, and we simply have to hope to manifest it. But
Wow.
the problem is that the people who we have in front of our children, a lot of them are not really there for the right reasons. As someone who works in schools, I can tell you at least 25% of America's teachers are in their second career with education, and they did not come into the school because they want to help black children. They came into the school to pay their mortgage because they got laid off at the bank, or they got laid off at Wall Street, or they got laid off at whatever particular job that was their actual chosen profession.
Wow.
So we have a lot of people who don't know how to teach, who are in the schools teaching our children under emergency certifications, which basically says you have a bachelor's degree, and if you don't have any felons on your record, we will put you in a classroom with
Wow.
an emergency cert.
Wow.
They're not taught how to teach. So when we look at the failure of African-American children, and our boys in particular, we got to put it in context. If the children are failing, it's because the school systems and their parents, I don't want to leave them out, are failing them. The children are not the perpetrators of the miseducation machine. They are the victims of it.
All right, so let me do this because the brother covered a lot.
But he didn't cover that third R.
Oh, what was the third R real quick, Umar?
And the third R, which is the most important one, is relationships. You cannot teach a child who you don't like. You cannot teach a child who's not sure if you like them. You cannot teach a child who you're constantly down-talking, degrading, punishing, suspending, and expelling.
Wow.
A good teacher is like a good therapist. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have, nor does it matter how long you have been teaching. If you cannot connect with those children in that class on a personal level, I don't care if your doctorate came from Harvard School of Education. If you cannot connect with that group of children on that particular class, in that particular school, you are a failure. Relationships is the foundation of successful education.
Now, let me add to this. You guys hear me talk about my son all the time. My oldest son, 16-year-old ball player. He goes to Santa Monica High. I don't want to put him out there like that. But he tells me all the time, Dad, they don't get me. It's a cultural disconnect. He says this. He's only 6. Dad, they don't understand. It's a cultural disconnect. They'll force you into a box and try to make you perform at a particular level, but they don't get to know you. So when the brother said R for relationship, they're not relating. They're just assessing, judging, categorizing. And that's what my son brought back to me. To go back to what the brother Umar said earlier about the Oprahs, the Bill Cosbys, and all of that. To me, and I've said this in other shows, I said the only reason, or one of the major reasons why black people don't get to and stay together is because we all got a price. We've got a price. And black people will sell other black people out for the sake of protecting what they're after. And it happens to us all the time. And whatever their agenda is, well, I'll sell you out if it means I'll be taken care of, me and mines. We don't see the community as belonging to us, as us and ours. So as long as black people have a price, and I say this all the time, you see it in the hood level and you see it in the corporate level. The hood level is called snitching. And anybody that's dealing in gangster business or dirt on the street, all of them are snitches because all of them have a price.
Yeah.
And they always talk that let's keep it real, let's keep it 100. If the system came and put the clamps down on you, you'll sell out and roll over on all your boys. It happens all the time.
Absolutely.
It happens. Everybody's copping pleas, right? But it also happens on the corporate level too. See, if the black family in America just said, no more, you can't buy us. You can't bribe us. They bought hip hop. They bought what was our baseball league? The Negro League. They bought. You see what I'm saying?
They bought Motown.
They buy everything we create, and we're willing to sell it. They bought BET. They buy everything we create.
Yep.
So the moment we say you can't afford our creativity, you can't afford that God-given gift that we have to create and sustain ourselves, Then and only then. See, because when I hear Bill Cosby say, y'all need to go to school, yeah, school is one element. But if you're not addressing the issue that the brother Umar brought up, which was relationship, connecting to, we're not just teaching you how to read and write and mathematics. We're teaching you to relate to yourself first and then relate to others. We're giving you knowledge of science or knowledge of self. They're not teaching that.
You bring a couple of things to mind.
Go ahead, Geoff.
One, something the doctor said a couple of minutes ago about making good workers is what the educational system was first about. That in itself points to why there is no relationship.
Right.
Because these people are just at these schools boxing up workers.
Well, that's what education is for. Education is for the integration into an economic system.
Absolutely.
So we don't want you too smart.
No, because then you don't fit in the box. Second, I have a prediction as to when this wonderful day will come about, or at least what it will take. The dollar is going to have to collapse. Society is going to have to collapse because this problem that we have is in such a closed loop that it's not going to open up until there is no way to financially separate one from the other. As long as I can go, look, nigga, I got more money than you, you're going to have that problem. Once we collapse.
Zombie apocalypse.
James Hanna? James Hanna?
An apocalypse.
What'd you say, James? I need to hear that.
Niggas need the zombie apocalypse to figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then all that gang stuff.
Nothing
won't matter
short of a
anymore.
race war is going to work.
Bougie hood rat and all that stuff won't matter anymore. It's just we're running from the undead.
Yeah.
Wow.
When people are looking to eat you, then you know what? And you.
But let me ask all of you this question, and I'm gonna start with Mark Goulston, and then Dr. Umar, then James Hanna, then Geoff. What about when you hear people say it's time to stop making excuses? You know, Barack Obama does it a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, Barack Obama basically did the speech for the graduates at Morehouse recently, and basically he was just saying be good fathers and, you know, be productive citizens and all of that. What about when you hear people say there are no more excuses for black men? Step up, stand up, and handle your business. Is it easier said than done, or are there still COINTELPRO type situations out there that are trying to hold black men down? I'm going to start with the doc, because the doc is white. And he might be seeing it like, y'all are creating some myths out there that ain't true. Doc,
bunch of wine and porch monkeys, get it together.
Doc, do you think that black men are just making too many excuses and we should just step up to the plate and get with the program?
I want to ask Dr. Umar something, so I'll sort of answer your question my usual.
See how white people do?
way.
You ask them a question, and then they answer it with a question.
Well, because you got me thinking, and I want to ask Dr. Umar something, because I think one of the, and this is also about your son, Zoe, I think one of the biggest problems is the negative feedback loop that demotivates people. So when kids or anyone thinks my life's not going to essentially be any better, it's not going to be different, and they project themselves and don't see anything better, they stop trying today. So how do you break the negative demotivator loop that is just rampant, not just in the black community, but almost everywhere? That if you look into the future and instead of seeing hope, you see kind of despair, why try? Why do anything today that doesn't feel good? Why do without sugary junk food if it makes me feel better for 5 minutes when I don't think I'm going to make it to 40 anyway? So, Dr. Umar, I would love your input about how, if you believe that there is a demotivation loop that happens, and if so, how to break it.
Well, number one, I agree with you. I think there is a demotivation loop there. And I think it ultimately depends on the person giving the feedback in what manner and for what purpose are they doing it. For example, I am a pretty frequently requested graduation speaker here on the East Coast. So I do a lot of graduation speeches. And when I speak to young people, I normally do a pre-seminar for the high school seniors, and then there's the speech, and then something post a lot of times. So basically, we got to understand that not telling them the truth is never going to help them. And I'm saying that to say because there's a lot of folks, you have your Bill Cosbys and other people who don't want to focus on the raw reality of black existence. They simply want to say that all the problems are the responsibility of the victim, and the system has nothing to do with it. Well, that's totally incorrect. Every problem that we suffer from has deep psychosocial, economic, and political roots in America. But on the flip side, my message to our young people is, yes, there is racism. Yes, the statistics don't look good. But at the end of the day, you are still the master and captain of your destiny. So for me, the feedback that they get cannot be used as an excuse, because at the end of my message and all during my message, I'm going to make sure that they are clear that if I was able to escape the ghettos of North Philadelphia and earn my 6 degrees and work for myself and never go to jail, you can do it too.
Wow.
And give back to my community. So I think that we owe them the responsibility of telling them the truth. We should never hide them from the reality that they're going to face, but at the same time, empower them to believe in themselves enough that they can overcome anything that the system throws at them.
Okay.
Wow, that's good stuff.
That's great. Thank you.
James, I want to get James
Okay.
and then you.
I tell my sons like this. I say, look, racism exists, and there's an entire history that proves that this country don't like your black ass. Okay, it's just we've been bred. We basically it's just the way we were bred. You know, we were bred to to hate ourselves and love white. Anybody that says, let me just start. I have a problem with Obama's speech to Morehouse. I have a huge problem with that speech.
Talk to me.
One is that wasn't the fucking place for that speech. Okay, any black male, first of all, half of Morehouse is gay as a waiting room in a Chinese adoption agency. Second, any brother that goes to
That's why I
Morehouse, the
never go there.
heterosexual half,
Oh my God.
don't need that speech. They don't need to hear be fathers and be men. They're pretty much on the track for that. Obama was on some bullshit for that, because that's a little mind trick he plays with his white constituents to let him know he'll check niggas. That's all that was about. Okay, that's all that was about, because he would never have gone to Spelman and said, you bitches stop having baby daddies and kids out of wedlock, because he would have caught hell for that.
Wow.
But whenever he gets in front of us, he has to check us and tell us to be fathers and husbands, when most of the time that crowd was not the crowd that needed to hear that.
Fathers and husbands is what sent them there.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't need to hear that. You know, but he has to show, man. Obama I'm done with Obama.
Oh,
He's a
me too.
sellout.
But
I'm so done with that Negro. His job is basically he's the Black Bush. He's there to show whenever he speaks to us, he speaks down to us. But when he talks to white folks, he talks up.
Wow.
He talks like he's serving them. But as for the whole racism, no more excuse. Yeah, racism is not an excuse to say you'll never make it, but it is an obstacle.
Wow.
It's
And it's
an
one that
obstacle.
we pretty much just got to live through.
You got to live through it. You got to walk that. You got to get through it. You got to find a way over it or under it. You can't let it stop you from your dream. Okay, there's no excuse. That's what I told my sons. There's no excuse to use to stop you from your dream.
Wow.
Okay, but it's definitely out there. And that's what bothers me about Obama is he wants to tell black people to stop making excuses, but you can't. It's two sides of that coin.
Yeah, it's one
You
thing
can't
to say stop
black
making
folks-
it. It's one thing to say stop making an excuse, but it's another thing to tear down the barriers that creates the reason for why it goes back to that old saying, what's the difference between an excuse and a reason? So at the end of the day, if there are real obstacles that are there and you go, oh, don't make no excuses for that, but they're there, they're societal constructs that we have to deal with on a daily basis, let's acknowledge their existence and how they're problematic to us. Like, for instance, there's work, I talk about this a lot, there's work being done at Stanford University on stereotype threat. And the stereotype threat means, especially in an educational space, that minorities do worse on standardized tests at all levels. High school, even college, even at Stanford, even at Berkeley. They do worse because of the stereotypical content that's contained within the standardized tests. You take the stereotypical content out, and then people of color do as good or better than their white counterparts. So to me, I see the stereotypical ideological concepts as propaganda to keep people of color in a subordinate space. So to act like it doesn't exist and you just shouldn't make no excuses. I mean, come on. I go back to Dr. Umar when he says education for people that are oppressed is really about knowing your place in the society of the oppressor. Speak to that, Dr. Umar.
Can I say this?
Yeah. Well, James finish and then Umar.
Okay. Here's what bothers me. When people talk about there's no more excuses, when people, especially black folks, when they say there's no reason for affirmative action, the thing that bothers me about that is they never bring up white privilege, which is the opposite of that coin.
Tim Wise.
Okay.
Tim Wise. Get one of Tim Wise's books on white privilege. Go ahead. Finish, James.
He doesn't, he's like Obama's anti-affirmative action. And it's like, but dude, if you're going to have the balls to talk about that, then talk about white privilege. I mean, you want to talk about white privilege? Sarah Palin and George Bush Jr. are the living benefactors of white privilege.
Wow.
Those are two unqualified motherfuckers that made it to the top.
You
gonna trip about two unqualified that you think are unqualified black kids getting into some university?
Wow.
I mean, Sarah Palin ain't qualified to be a fucking principal.
Wow.
That bitch got to run for vice president.
Wow. Hey, let's get Dr. Umar's point, and then we're going to grab a couple callers before we go to break. Umar, finish that up, bro.
Yes, sir. Well, without question, I agree with everything that the gentleman had to say there. It's absolutely correct. Whenever President Obama addresses black male audiences, he always has to talk about what we're not doing right, what we need to start doing. And even when he addresses audiences that are predominantly made of African-American women, he likes to downgrade black men also. So he's absolutely correct on that point. Here's something we need to understand. One of the reasons why our children are catching the hell that they're catching, because they don't have to. Not in schools, they don't. They have to deal with racism in the society, but they don't have to deal with it in the school because we are able to have our own schools. So then the question becomes, why isn't the African-American community putting the money up for our young people to be educated by leaders within their own community? See, we could take our Christmas money in any city where we live, just the Christmas money, and build schools. You could take your 4th of July money, which you should not be celebrating anyway because you were enslaved.
Wow.
Okay? And we could take that money and build schools. We could take
the
our
Memorial Day barbecue money.
Easter money, and we could build schools for our children. So when we look at the racism that our children are suffering academically, and let's be clear, only 1 out of every 4 African-American boys in this country gets or will get a high school diploma.
Wow.
Only 3 out of every 100 African-American boys born into this country will ever see the inside of a college. So we have to look that it is a failing system, but although the community loves to criticize what the American social order isn't doing about African-American learners, they're not criticizing their own negligence and apathy towards creating their own independent schools to teach our children the way that they need to be taught.
Wow.
And the other issue is that we better get real serious and real quick because public education is quickly becoming a thing of the past.
It's true.
In Philadelphia, they're shutting down 50 to 60 schools.
Yes.
New York City, Chicago, 50 schools.
49.
I just came from St. Louis, Hartford, Boston, South Florida. They are disintegrating public education all across the inner cities of America. And why? We only built the schools to teach you to work for us. We don't need you anymore. We have over 4 million illegal, undocumented immigrants who are willing to work in your place without insurance, without minimum wage, without workman's comp. And so what has happened is that the United States government has made a deal with big businesses in order to keep them on American soil and not let themselves move over to second and third world countries where they can pay for labor for $1 a day. The American government has allowed illegal immigrants to stay so they can work for the corporations as a way of influencing the corporations not to relocate. So if black people are no longer needed in the American social order, what is the purpose of public education?
Wow.
To prepare the boys for prison and prepare the girls for a life of poverty. Within 25 years, if we do not have schools for our children, you're going to see a situation where most of our children won't have to worry about being miseducated because they're not going to receive an education anyway.
All.
Hey, so Dr. Mark Goulston, I know this shit sounds like the Terminator reading the Terminator script and the machines are coming and the Matrix. You know what I mean? I know this sounds crazy sitting from your seat. Like, what do you see when you hear this kind of information? Does it sound like Lauryn Hill conspiracy theories, right? Does it sound like we just making up something? Or is this a real issue that maybe you guys, when I say you guys, I mean on your side of the tracks, that you guys may be able to see and feel? Or are you guys disconnected? Talk to me. Let's get some ignorant white up in here.
What I hear, and this is not just about the black community, it's many communities, what I hear is the rage of powerlessness. And the point is, and you might want to, I said this to one of my black friends, he's very angry about all kinds of things, justifiably so. And I said, what do you expect will happen as long as you stay angry, blaming, complaining, and making excuses? Do you think it's really going to change anything? And he looked at me and he said, the reason I rage like that is so I don't get angrier, because if I got any angrier, I would destroy someone or myself. Wow. So I have a little steam to get off my chest, because if I don't, I will explode and I will do something nasty, and I'm not a nasty person. So, I think what I'm hearing is the justifiable rage of powerlessness. And the point is, and maybe this is white privilege, is what's the outcome you want to get, and do you think the way you're doing it is going to get it? If you do, keep doing it. If you don't think it is, you got to try something else. What I'm also getting from this, and I'm getting a real education, there really needs to be a structural change. I mean, Dr. Umar, you've just educated me in so many ways. I cannot thank you enough. And there has to be a structural change, because you are absolutely right, especially about illegal immigrants coming in, pushing aside the black community so that the black community will have nothing.
Okay. And
Geoff Brown?
With you saying that, Doc, what I'm about to say is incredibly racist, because I am racist, but it's okay because I'm black. That basically puts the bow on what I say when I talk to you all the time. Whenever we discuss problems with black people, you, like most white people, try to open the door to what's wrong with everybody. I want to say I don't give a damn about other people, but that's not true.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about what's going on with anybody other than black people, but because for me to look at what's going on wrong with Puerto Ricans or Indians or Asians is like me standing in front of my house looking across the street going, you know what, you need to cut your grass while my house is on fucking fire. And to say that what this doctor brought up, and that's not to say that you said that, but to say that we are complaining about what is going on is like saying that because I have to run a race with alligators and snakes and shit on the course, that if I say anything about the alligators and snakes, instead of being honest about their presence, that I'm bellyaching about them, is foul to me.
Right.
It's just foul.
I love that. 323-965-1600. And we're going to take a quick break. But before I do.
In love.
What? But yeah, Michael Jackson. It's all in love.
In love.
It's all in love.
I wrote the fucking song, In Love. I want it how I said it, or I'll fire your ass and you'll never work again.
Just play it like I wrote it.
Yeah, I love that.
No, but let me just say this too. The thing is hurtful for me, because now we're in a space where anti-intellectualism amongst our kind
is what's up.
Swag and cool and all of this and that. And it bothers me. It bothers me because we need, just like Dr. Umar spoke of earlier, we need the rebirth of the black scientist. We need the rebirth of the black engineer. Black man, black male engineer. We need the rebirth of that. And what we need to understand in this process is that we've got to stop looking for the verification and the validation of the oppressor. That's what we have. And when I say oppressor, understand what I mean by that, Dr. Goulston. If you have control over a people psychologically, you're the oppressor. And the people that you have control over are subject to your rules, your regulation. They just passed a law, what was it, yesterday, that now the police can swab your mouth for DNA because they're creating a DNA base. Who do you think is going to have the biggest number of DNA swabs in the new database?
They ain't swabbing on Wilshire. They ain't swabbing. You get pulled over on Rodeo Drive, they ain't going to swab your mouth.
So the point that I'm trying to make is that I think is important. The only way for us to rebuild this community is to stop taking the handouts of validation and verification from them. Them meaning the system, the order that's in place that says we are the authority. Even the educational process works the same way. Just like the brother said, technology is advancing. Like we're very technologically sound, but at the same time, we're spiritually poor.
I'm a bust if I don't say this.
Go ahead.
I think in sometimes fairness and in unfairness, black people are directly compared to Jews in that Jews had the ability to thrive and flourish and put their shit back together within a particular system because there was a system for them to escape to. They could not have put their shit back together under Hitler. There was no way.
But no, it's even, you just hit a great point. I got to get it. Dude, nobody considers the Jews as segregationists.
No, exactly.
You guys have your own schools, right? And a Jewish education is a damn good education.
Oh, you're damn right.
And it incorporates knowledge of self. So when a brother like Umar Johnson says, hey, we need to separate so we can educate our children properly, he gets looked at as a militant or a separatist or something like that.
What do you think? Wait, this is Whitey Locke's Jew boy.
Here we go, Whitey Locks.
What do you think about the fact that the Jewish community is driven by fear and the black community is driven by rage?
What do I think of that?
Let me just finish, because I think if you're driven by fear and that the Nazis can come back at any given time, and what happens is you learn to try not to disrupt, and so because that's not an option. Whereas I think when you have a lot of rage, just the expression of rage is so disruptive that people will almost just listen to you without even listening to you, just to get out of the conversation.
Here's what I think of that. I'm about to say some stuff that could end my career. One, from the and again, Chicago high school public education and Mythbusters. That's what I'm working with. I'm not great. Okay. From what I can see, no one in power was ever afraid of Jews. No, you were not. You were not attacked because people were afraid of you.
No, I'm saying the Jews are afraid.
I know exactly what you're saying. This is what I'm saying. Nobody ever attacked you, Bobby, because people were afraid of you. So for you to take a passive position and put your shit together is a lot easier than for black people, especially black males, to take a passive position and get their shit together unless it involves a direct overseer, a direct white point of contact. We have never, ever been able to make a passive or aggressive movement away to get our own shit together. This is what happened to the Black Panthers. This is what happened to the Crips. This is what happens with every social group that says, okay, black people got some problems. Let's get over here and deal with them. Whenever we say that, it's not our rage that creates fear in others. It is our togetherness that creates fear in others.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, James, make it quick because we got to go to break, and then when we come back, we're gonna hit some more.
I might lose all of y'all on this, but this is how I feel. All this black oppression is basically this: it's about big black dicks. Okay. That's what this is all about.
The meat obelisk
is because if there was no such thing as a nigga, white women would be fucking brothers like it's no tomorrow. They would be fucking niggas in the street. So this government has to make us look like animals. It has to make us look bad. It has to undereducate us and dehumanize us to keep some of that white pussy away from us.
To keep some of it, just some of it.
We do not breed the white man
out of existence
because everybody wants every woman, whether she admits it or not, wants some black dick in her.
Wow.
Okay, so
323.
That's what all of this is about. The second they make us look human, the second they make us look equal in any way, it's on.
Wait a second, James. Are you telling me that because my dick looks like a baby's arm holding an apple, that this is why we're having all this problem?
That's exactly why we're having all this
Because I
problem.
have a leather kickstand in my pants.
Because when a black man walks in a room, he walks in a room with flavor and confidence.
Because
and
my dick
women
has an
find
elbow
that
in it?
shit
That's why?
attractive.
That's the reason.
Is it because my
That's
dick is
what
so
all
big
of
that it
this
has a
shit-
dick?
That's what every piece of racism in America is about.
Suede Billy Club.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why other minorities, other races don't flourish. They flourish in this country. Okay,
Wow.
because there's no. I got into it with a Chinese dude in college about this because he tried to criticize us and say that blacks march and whine, and I said, dude, it's because you flourish because the white man's daughter don't want to fuck you.
Oh,
Okay,
damn.
that's what this is all about. You ain't no. There are porn sites dedicated to white women that want black dick in them. Ain't no I want yellowcock.com.
There
so
sure
that's
isn't.
why.
I've
that's
Okay,
what this shit
I've
is
looked.
about.
I've looked.
I've looked.
Okay, so listen, we got to take
Okay.
a quick break. When we come back, I want us to deal with this question. How would the black community look if we were conditioned by communism or socialism as opposed to capitalism? Somebody get at me. 323-965-1600. We'll be back at 2.2. Holla. Ladies and gentlemen, so what morning back in the building, rmconair.com, the only place you can get this type of content. It's intelligent, it's funny, it's riveting, it's entertaining, but listen, This is about helping us grow outside of our box, outside of our boundaries. Are black men just whining, complaining victims, or are there real obstacles we gotta face? What would the black community look like if we were conditioned by communism or socialism?
Wow.
As opposed to capitalism? Would women be talking about, I need a provider, if they were conditioned by communism where everything is taken care of? Would there be more or less freedom? A lot of people are confused. They think they got freedom here in America, but you don't decide what you're choosing from. The choices are already preset.
That's it.
So it's an illusion of freedom, in my opinion.
Gun, snake, or needle? Which way you going?
Gun, snake, or needle. 323-965-1600. We want to take a couple of... Whoa. I want to go, before I go to my caller, I want to go to Dr. Umar because I spoke to him during the break. And he had something to add on to what James Hanna said about the black meat obelisk. Go deeper.
Yes, there's some truth to that. We do know that white supremacy, which is the ideological foundation upon which white racism and white privilege functions, is based on white genetic annihilation. The essential purpose of white supremacy is to control African people and any other people for that matter, to ensure that they do not wipe out the white genotype, the white DNA, from being able to exist on Earth. I mean, Europeans are a minority on this planet. They've always been. There's never been a time when they were the majority. And they're conscious of that. They're psychologically conscious of that. They're psychobiologically conscious of that. And it infects all of their political and psychological dealings with black people in particular. Segregation was based on keeping the black man away from the white woman, because if he cohabitates with her, the product of that relationship will be a black child. That's precisely why only black men, for the most part, although Irish were hung, Jews were hung in this country, even Italians were hung, many of the other Southern European immigrants, Chinese were even hung. But only when African-American men were hung in this country were they castrated in nearly every single existence of a hanging.
So you couldn't see that they were well
hung.
hung.
Why were we castrated and not the other men who were hung? Because of white men's white men being conscious of the fact that black men represent a clear threat to white genetic survival.
Wow, that is heavy stuff. We got callers right now. Let's go to them. Let me just say, I appreciate you guys for waiting on the line. I apologize if it's taking so long. Mighty Quinn, you're on the line. Holler at me.
Peace to the brothers in the room. Peace to the sisters in the room.
All right, brother.
I live in New York City, and basically jumping off of what y'all talking about, Jews are a major problem in New York City. Okay, we have a Jewish mayor, and this guy does what he wants to do because of his status and the money he has. Okay, status plays a major part in it. But again, to jump back off of that, I think that black people need to go back to the ancient way. This new technology shit is technology. It's garbage. I think, yes, we're the creators of it. We're the ones that built the foundation. We're the architects, like you said, Brother Zoe. I think that we need to go back to being, like you said, go back to being architects and building a different society within ourselves, amongst ourselves, and fight for it. Because
But
in the long run,
you
we're
know
gonna have to
what?
fight.
You know what, caller? That's a great point. But let me ask my august panel. In order for us to do that, we got to get our woman back. And our woman has fully, in my opinion, I know there's some great women out there, some great sisters. Let me preface it with that. But in general, the criteria by which they judge us, right? That criteria was programmed into them by who? It seems like they're more on their side than they are on our side. That's just me.
Dude.
Somebody, if you disagree with me, please speak to me.
Welfare state of mind.
Dude, this is not.
Can I respond to that?
Yes. Dr. Umar, speak on it.
Yes, Dr.
Thank
Umar
you, caller.
Johnson speaking. That goes back to slavery. One of the things that enslavement of Africans did in America was it upset the natural gender balance between the black male and female. It made the black woman the controller and power force in the black community and emasculated the black man and reduced him almost down to nothing. And so we've always had that issue since we've been here because of the empowerment of the black woman by white society and the emasculation of the black man by the same society. Right now in America, we are the only ethnic group in this country, the only one, where the women have more education than the men and who actually earn more than the men. That's not true for Native Americans, East Indians, Latinos, white people, Arabs. No one else has that predicament. And it was deliberately engineered to be that way by the American social order to create chaos in the black home. And in and of itself, it's not a problem that the black woman has more education and income. That doesn't make it a problem. What makes it a problem is when she psychologically draws conclusions about the black man as a result of him not being on her same social, economic, and educational level. That becomes the problem. So it makes it difficult for the black woman to be with a black man who doesn't equal her education and income because she feels that because she's the one with the more money or the more education, she should have a right to dominate him. And no self-respecting black man is going to let a woman run his life.
Wow.
Okay,
Is she looking at us through the eyes of the system then?
Without question, Zoe, because American society, Brother Zoe, has a different relationship with the black woman than it has with the black man. For example, I would tell you to never send your son to a predominantly white private school if you can help it, because he's going to be mistreated. He's going to be referred for special education. He's going to be referred for ADHD, which, by the way, gentlemen, means nothing other than ain't no damn daddy at home disorder. That's all ADHD is.
Wow.
Okay? But if you have a daughter, she might can make it in a white private school because the attack and the assault is upon the black man in a different way. It's not that black women don't suffer racism. They do. But most of the time, they're getting it from white females. The white man has been able to caress the black woman, has been able to support the black woman. Remember, he gives her food stamps. He gives her health care. He gives her the scholarship. He gives her a place to live. You see,
he gives her refuge.
So
he gives her refuge from us.
She doesn't see him as the same way we see him. And what he has done was created a situation where she does not have to go to her man for anything.
Wow.
A black woman, if she wants child support, she don't have to ask you, brother, can I have some money to take care of our child? She can go straight to the white man, and he will dig in your pockets for her. Black women have to be careful that they are not used as the weapon of mass destruction against black men.
Oh yeah. The weapon formed against me is prospering well. Now,
I got something explosive to say.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let's go. Whitey Locks.
Damn my thought. Go ahead.
Damn it. You know he's white. He gets to cut you
thinking
off.
about this bullshit. Go ahead.
Be quiet, Negro.
Fuck was I thinking?
I don't know if black women say this to the black men in their life, but from what I'm listening to, they could be thinking, what are you good for anyway?
Oh, that's exactly what they're thinking.
That's exactly what they're thinking.
And so what do you do with that? I mean, if you're a black man, because let's talk about getting the black man back into the game.
Okay.
But if that's what they're thinking, if you're black women, look at you and say, what are you good for anyway? I mean,
here's what you do with it. Now, this is coming from a black man who does not have that problem. I hit the frickin' lotto. My wife is fine as Persian cat hair.
That's after
peaceful.
10,000. That's after 10 million tries you hit the lotto.
That's after 10 million tries. Yeah, I was about to leave the casino. I was on my way out of the casino, and I put the quarter in one time. Ding, ding, ding. 150 million. Here's what you do as a black man. You get your shit together and wait patiently, because in my opinion, and I would love for Brother Umar, I would love for you to address this. What I think is going to happen and what has to happen is when black people, there's a thought that racism is tearing this country apart. I disagree. I believe it's the only thing that is holding this country together.
You said that, yeah.
Yes. Once regular white people figure out that they have more in common with regular black people than they do the social elite that are pulling these strings, there's going to be smoke in every goddamn city. And once the dollar collapses, once there's nothing for you to compare me to, there's no distance for you to make between your education and what we have. Because all we have right now, we running with because shit is on fire.
Right. Well, let me say this.
I think that is what is necessary. Patience and wait for this shit to crumble.
Well, let me say this, too. I think also, in alignment with what you're saying, listen, if at the end of the day, all of this stuff that we're talking about, right, just this is what a lot of people don't understand about the system. They think white people are just out there actively being racist. Yeah. I think there are pockets.
Thank you.
But whenever you create a system, once the system has, gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, it's kind of on autopilot now. There's a system of supremacy that, it's in the background, it's subconscious, and those on the advantageous side, the white folks, they're not really thinking about it.
No.
But look at this system in terms, and I want the doctor to cover this too.
What do you mean there's a problem with it?
Right, the talented 10th. The brother said there's 2 types of talented 10ths, right? We got some of them out there, these intellectuals and these guys who go join the system, get an education, do this. I had an old dude tell me one time, he said the worst thing that could happen to a black man is a high quality European education because it neuters him. It takes his edge off. He's not challenging the authority. He's in alignment with it. So, with that said, I believe that there are black people in the way of black progress.
Oh, yeah.
There are black people that are the gatekeepers that turn other black people away because you're not of this class.
Black people love telling other black folks no.
Right.
Have you ever seen their faces when they tell you no?
Right. So, Doc, speak on that, Dr. Umar, please.
Well, without question, we know that after the Civil Rights Bill was passed and after Dr. King's assassination by the FBI, that the United States government deliberately sought to create a buffer class of black people to help squelch black rebellion and upheaval. Intentionally so. After the Civil Rights Bill, that's when you see a big spike in the amount of black people who were being sent to college, a big spike in the amount of black folks who was recruited by the FBI, big spike in the amount of black folks who were going into the military. This was all by design because the 60s exhausted the United States government. It exhausted it. You had SNCC, CORE, Nation of Islam, the Garvey movement, NAACP, Urban League, Black Panthers, Black Liberation Army. You had literally 20 to 30 legitimate and serious groups. Some were nationalists, some were integrationists, some were socialists, but they all felt that there needed to be a change, and they were going to be the ones to make it. The FBI has never worked so hard as they had to work in the 60s. You had King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, and the list goes on. The United States government decided we will never, ever allow that type of threat to erupt again right on American soil under our noses. The way to deal with that is to do what? Put black people in place. So when issues come up, it doesn't look like racism. It just looks like an issue that is devoid of race. In other words, in the 60s, most of the people in charge were white. So when black people had an issue, it was obvious that it was racism. It was obvious that it was white supremacy. But by putting black people in those places, it now doesn't appear to be racism because it's a black person who appears to be in charge. So the talented 10th was an outgrowth of that civil rights movement, and it basically comprised of 5 groups. The religious family, the higher education family, that's your scholars and intellects and writers. Also the position family, these are black people with privileged jobs such as chief of police, the mayor, city council, vice president of this corporation or that corporation. Then you have your blacks with money, that's your Oprah and Cosby, Jay-Z, people who are worth 500 million more, 500 million or more. And then you have your blacks in media, radio, television, and newspaper. And their job is to deflect suspicion from the government and American white racism as being the primary cause of the problems that black people suffer from. And here's the kicker, and I'll be quiet. In order to remain a house Negro, in order to keep your talented 10th identification card, you must do your job effectively. If Al Sharpton was not able to bring Obama black votes and black support, despite Obama's negligence of black people, he would have lost his bourgeoisie card. But Sharpton has been very successful through his radio show and public addresses at squelching black insurrectionary spirit. He has dedicated his whole radio show to doing that, and that's why he keeps his bourgeoisie card. Anyone who fails keeping black people in their place will be replaced by another Negro who can do a better job.
God damn. Damn, James Hanna, what do you got to say, man? Wow, James, where are you?
Oh, I'm here. I didn't hear the man. We just
James, where's your top 10?
This is house nigga 2.0 where we're living in. I blame hip hop. I'm just gonna say it like that. I blame.
Wait, James. James, you still got your top 10, right?
Yeah.
Does your top 10 fit into what we talking about right now?
Yeah.
Please give us that top 10 right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you wanted me to the end of the show.
Nah, man,
okay.
hell, hit us in the head.
All right. Let's see, folks. This is hold on one second.
All right, well, while you finding it, let me just say this, because I didn't want you to kill hip-hop. That's why I stopped you.
Okay.
But to build on Umar's point, hip-hop, to me, is just like the Bloods and the Crips and the 30 other organizations he mentioned. If you notice, Bloods and Crips started off as organizations to deal with the issues we were dealing with in the community.
Crips means Community Resistance in Progress.
Community Resistance in Progress is what Crips means. It was an acronym. But it seems to me, just like the Ricky Rosses of the world, the real Freeway Rick, he came out and told the truth.
You mean not the one with the B cups? With the C cups?
The little one with the big ass beard. The little one.
Okay,
right?
the little one, not
the real one. He came out and told the truth. I got paid by the CIA to bring crack into the hood. I believe that the leaders of these gangs have also been bought off because the original purpose of that gang was unity, was coming together, was working together. Let's solve our issues. But when we get together, we represent power, not accumulation. If the government, the society can get our mind focused on accumulating, which is a pseudo kind of power because it centers on self. I've got to get mine, which infers that I don't have mine personally. When it turns into we have power and we're going to create from what we have, now we're dealing with power over accumulation.
Oh, that's the same. That's why
we got to break that shit up,
Brother Rick. What a lot of people shout out to Brother Rick. How you doing, bro? Is actually a partner of mine. One of the things people don't know about him was that the heat got turned up on him not for selling dope, but for saving houses, because people were coming to Rick and going, "Look, they about to take my house," and Rick was paying for people's houses cash that he didn't have working for him. You could come to Rick and save your home so that areas couldn't be gentrified.
Wow.
That's when they started turning the heat up on Rick.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Dr. Mark Goulston, do you have something for us before we go to James Hanna?
Yeah, I had a question. What do you think would have happened if Obama looked more like his white mother than his black father? And a lot of people would say he acts like he's white, so it doesn't really make a difference. But what do you think would have happened if he looked white?
I'm not quite sure about that, but I'm very sure that Obama and Michelle would not be where they are today if they look like Harpo and Seeley. I can guarantee you that.
If they look like Harpo and Seeley.
They look like Harpo and Seeley. I can tell you black people would have backed away from them.
But but as a community, I love black love.
Oh my God.
Right? As a community, I love black love. And relationship is about challenges, hurt and pain and fighting through it and becoming better and being destroyed and being rebuilt and all of that. That's what it's about. But dude, this is a symbol of assimilation. This is a symbol that says, this is the black family we want to see. That ain't the only kind of black love. There's black love that says, nah, damn this system. I don't want you feeding me Monsanto products.
Which he does.
Right? There's a black love that says, hey, I want to defend mine. I'm going to go get a gun. Right? There's a black family that says, I don't like the education you teaching me. It's devoid of me. Where am I in this education? In this, right? No, they're saying this is the example. And why are we always labeled as angry and unappreciative because we stand up and say we don't want this?
How about the black family that saved 10% on their soul insurance by switching to Don't Go?
10% on their soul insurance. James Hanna, are you ready with our top 10?
Yes, I am.
Let's go.
Okay. These are top 10 signs you might be a house nigga.
Okay.
Go in.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
Number 10. The first time you heard about Trayvon Martin, you said, damn, he must have did something.
Oh.
Oh.
He must have did something.
Number 9. Black people at your job stop talking when you walk in the break room.
Here come this snitch.
Yeah. Here he comes, act natural.
Damn.
Number 8. You cried when Leonardo DiCaprio got shot in the Django Unchained.
You cried when damn, no! You was Steven?
Not Mr. Candy!
Go ahead.
Number 7. You put on your white job interview voice even when talking to the 16-year-old white girl at the McDonald's drive-thru.
That's hilarious.
Number 6. You're impressed when another brother has a white woman.
Oh, you're impressed when another dude. That brother winning.
Number 5. You have dreadlocks or a crazy afro but no mustache. Number 4. You let other customers go ahead of you at the bank so you can get the white teller.
What?
Wow, I've seen that.
Let me get Becky.
I have seen that. Here, you go. You take Leon. I'm going to take Tabitha.
All right. Number 3. You think Newt Gingrich is misunderstood.
Wow. As a black man. Go ahead.
Number 2. The lighter the skin, the better you treat your kids.
Whoa!
Woo.
And number 1 on the top 10 signs you might be a house nigga, you're LL Cool J.
Damn! James Hanna from the free throw line.
God.
What? Okay, I got a question for everybody. Let me get this this caller in, but when I come back, let's deal with this question starting with Dr. Umar. The question is, for men, black youth, black men, what order of importance would you teach these lessons to your son? Money, women, or the laws of society?
Oh, wow.
323-965-1600. Get to your phone lines. Caller, you're on the Zo What Show. Talk to me. Let's go.
Turn your radio
Professor
down.
Davis, turn your life down.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was on.
You on, sweetie.
Okay, you on.
Talk
Turn
to
your
us.
light down.
Talk to us, sister.
Thank you. I want to give respect to everybody that's on the panel today. I really appreciate you guys tackling this issue.
Thank you.
I'm a professor. I teach immunohistochemistry and human anatomy and physiology at a graduate level. Wow. And I've been for the past years doing research on learning styles of students. And to speak to Brother Umar's point about relationships, black students are genius in that they are able to read intentions of professors. I go to meetings with my counterparts who are all from different countries. So we're talking about a language barrier as well, because when you get into the sciences, you'll also find that the instructors are not going to look like me as well. I go into meetings with my counterparts, and my counterparts can't even tell me their students' names. They don't personalize the learning experience. And what I found about black students is that community and knowing that someone cares. And I'm talking about, I teach graduate level students. I've been doing this research for 8 years. My students' performance on their scores has risen at least 35% in the past 4 years, just with the idea of helping them and letting them understand that I care about what happens to you. I'm not a black professor who is trying to impress somebody else above me, by stepping on my black students' necks. That's not what I do. And I'm also not a professor who is worried about what people think about me because I'm staying after class with a group of 5 or 6 black students as well. If that needs to be done, then that's what's going to be done. I noticed that in the performance of black and white students, my black students have underperformed in a lot of ways for math and science, but the subject that I teach is extremely difficult, and I do congratulate every black student that I have, every student, period, but specifically black students because I'm managing across people who have children, jobs, relationships, so I have to teach and instruct across all of those barriers. And once I realize that, or instructors realize that, and treat people with respect like human beings, and not like a number or the last 4 digits of your social security number, the learning experience will be vastly improved.
Wow.
Can I? This is the doc on the show. Can I suggest what your secret sauce is that makes you so special?
Love.
Well, I think it's love, but I'll bet your students feel much more enjoyed about who they are than what they do.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of people don't feel enjoyed by anything, so you are giving them hope, and God bless you.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for hanging on the line.
Thank
This
you.
sister stayed on the line.
What kind of chemistry she teach?
Say again what you do again, sister.
Immunohistochemistry and human anatomy and physiology.
Immunohisto.
Wow.
Histochemistry is just basically the study of how tissues in your body, which are clumps of cells, how tissues respond to disease.
Wow. We are so appreciative for you not only calling the show, but hanging on the line and then delivering that meaningful piece of information. Thank you so much.
You need to call back so we can talk about some of that immunohisto shit. Just call back. I want to know.
Back.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it,
Thank you.
Professor Davis. Let me just say again, that's the purpose of this show. We really want to have these conversations, and we really want to change the way we do things. It hurts me every day, man. I wake up every day, and there's a hole in my heart because we are engaging each other through the rules that were established by an oppressive system that's on autopilot. And unfortunately, within that system is unforgiveness, right? We can't take anything out on the system that's on autopilot, so we take it out on each other. There's no room for hurt in our relationships, right? Because once we hurt each other, we're enemies. Sometimes we're already, it's almost like the enmity is pre-encoded even before the trauma happens.
Because we're bred that way.
You feel what I'm saying, James?
Yeah.
We're in that space, and soon as something happens, the relationship is dead because of what's been pre-encoded in how we interface.
You ever feel this energy? You walking up to a black person who has a modicum of authority. The girl at the ticket booth when you go into a concert. The girl at the bank teller, the window. Do you ever feel...
The post office.
Oh, dude, at the post office.
Can I do my job?
Thank you. I've had this. You ever have this? You ever had a check that's sizable? I'll say that. I've had some sizable checks. $8,000. I had a check.
That's sizable.
I want half of it cash. This is my money. Have you ever had this where the person at the window is white and they go, you know what? I can't give you cash. We have to okay this. And the white person takes it back to the black supervisor, and the black supervisor looks down at the check, looks at the ID, and right before they get ready to okay it, they look through the glass, and then you see them go, no. There is a piece of us that has been programmed to immediately, upon sight, especially sisters looking at black men, put them in the enemy pile.
Our sisters in the age, because I heard this before, and Dr. Umar, maybe you could speak on this. Are sisters the gateway to corporate America for black men? And I'm talking about in terms of human resources. And when they do see some black men come through, are they the ones that shut it down for us? 323-965-1600. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll deal with that as well for men. What order of importance would you teach your son these lessons? Money, women, or the laws of society. 323-965-1600. The state of the Black Male Union 2013. So what? We in the building. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds. We got to take this break. When I come back, callers and those questions in that order. Woo, this show's crazy. We'll be back at 2.2. Ladies and gentlemen, back in the building. Crazy, crazy show right now.
Yeah.
We got James Hanna, comedian, writer, extraordinaire. We've also got, like I said, man, one of the most profound voices in our community today, Dr. Umar Johnson. Man, this brother's a descendant of the great Frederick Douglass. And
great to have him. Shame we need him so bad.
You know what I'm saying? Needless to say, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. This brother is powerful in this day and age and doing the thing like we need it. So let me do this. We got callers on the line. I want to grab a caller, and then, brothers, we can talk about the questions that I posed about, what do you teach your son first? You know what I mean? What do you teach him first? Do you teach him about women? Do you teach him about the laws and the society in which he lives, or do you teach him about money? 323-965-1600. Somebody call us and let us know. Mike, you're on the line.
What's going on, Paul?
Mike, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, brother. What's happening?
All right, I'm going to
time listener, man. First time caller, man. This is a good topic myself because I have a son. I just tuned in kind of late, but what's up, panel? The three things that I would teach them first, the most important is the laws of society. Why? Because these three things correlate with each other. So if you teach him the laws of society, making money would be no problem for him because he's knowledgeable of what he's up against, being a black man. Two, the money situation. Because once you get money, you need to know how to manage your money. You need to know how to double it, to make more money, keep income for yourself and his family and everything. And this will be less because money can bring women regardless.
Come on, bro.
If you know how to manage your money. And
Wait.
You can't lose money.
Wait, hold on, caller. Stop right there. Because I think that's one of the things we got to fix in our society. The way we interface, man. I have a 13-year-old daughter. And that concept never really, meant anything to me until I looked in her eyes. Dude, I don't want my daughter to have a price to be bought. Like what you just said. 50 says it all the time. 50, you got paper, if you got bread,
women
you
come
got
with that.
women. And what I want women to do is start listening to that with their intuition as opposed to their societal goals and agenda.
I understand that, but you got to.
Do you understand that though? You feel me? Like I don't want our women to have a price because if I can buy you, then I don't truly value you except to whatever the cost, whatever I paid was.
I don't think Dr. Umar. I don't think it's the money per se that attracts the woman. It's the power that comes with having the money. Women are attracted to powerful men. It's their nature. It doesn't matter if it's my daughter or your daughter. They are going to be attracted to powerful men. What we have to do is help them develop their discernment skills enough.
There we go.
So that power alone is not what attracts them or ultimately brings them to a man, but other types of standards such as integrity. But a woman is always going to be drawn to the power. But again, we have to help in being able to discern amongst the men who have the power so she can make the appropriate choice.
Right. And what the doctor is saying is being able to discern the difference between money and power. And the doctor brought up, remember the currency show we did?
Yeah.
We said there are other currencies in relationship and family building that are more important and worth more than money. Integrity.
You have to teach your daughter to value a man. And the only way you can do that is to show her a man.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I just tell my daughter's only 8, but when she gets of the age, I just tell her, you all basically get love and respect. I'd rather see you marry a garbage man who loves and respects you than some baller who's beating the shit out of you every time my back is turned.
But buying you red bottoms and the latest Louis
here's some
bag
Louboutins. I'm sorry for your eye.
Right.
Yeah. But
and maybe even not even
being... That's what most of these boys believe anyway. They think money make a man. That's what most of these young boys born.
Yes, and also women have reduced manhood to money as well.
That's what
a lot of women have, and that is why we have such a crisis within the black male-female relationship dynamic, because so many of our men have been economically handicapped by previous prison experiences, which make them very undesirable to black women, despite what type of a father they can be, despite what type of a husband they can be. I see sisters all the time, professional women with whom I work, who pass over very good men. And I'm talking about men who don't have prison sentences, but because he's a sanitation worker, that's not within my storybook definition of what a man is. So here's a man with good money, good benefits, good retirement, good character and integrity, but because you have fashioned an image of a successful man that's based on European American standards, you go around complaining that you can't find them when they're all around you, but because they don't necessarily present themselves in the materialistic manner in which you want them to, they don't even get considered.
Well, that's nigga, please. You work for UPS.
Yes.
That's Bismarcky.
This was something I was asking the doc that I haven't had him respond to yet.
Well, he's gone now.
It's that's funny. No, not him. Not that
Now
doctor.
you wanna get tough.
Dr. Umar. That's
You want to get
hilarious.
tough because Dr. Goulston is gone now.
You know that's how most brothers do get tough while Whitey ain't around.
Well, Whitey's not here now.
What? Because it's coming. The collapse of the dollar is coming as sure as my black ass is sitting here. I say that until that happens, until the dollar is taken out of the equation, brothers will never get a fair shake from sisters.
Are you telling
what do
me?
you think
Wait
of
a
that?
minute. Wait a minute, Geoff. Are you telling me that it's going to take the collapse of the dollar for black women to recontextualize their master view of black men?
Oh, brother, absolutely. Because once the dollar collapses, then the weaves will start getting old because you won't have shit to buy them with.
The weaves will get old.
So you got to pull that shit out of your hair. Yes, I think once the dollar is taken entirely out of the equation and we running for our lives in the goddamn street, then and only then will we be able to get a fair shake. I want to hear what the doctor has to say about that.
Wow.
I do agree to a certain extent with that, in that, as I said earlier, our women are the only women who don't have to come through us for the things that they need.
Yes.
If you look at any other community, there is a protocol in order where the women must go through their men. It is totally unacceptable to go around your man and go directly to the American social order
For
to
anything.
get that which you need. You go through your men. Even if a woman is going to get on welfare, okay? I know a lot of Hispanic women who are on welfare, but they did it with the permission of their men. They didn't just go and do it on their own and then keep it a secret, so he ends up having to pay all this back money because she never even told him that she was getting money from him and Whitey at the same time. So we have to have a situation where our women come back through us. And here's the irony of that. The question that's being asked by black men and the American power structure is, if we stop feeding your women, if we stop housing your women, if we stop educating and employing your women, are black men, not just the few of us on this phone call, but are black men overall ready for the responsibility
Are we ready?
and accountability that comes with the fact that white supremacy is no longer going to be the insurance program for your woman when she's in need?
Well,
No, we are not.
let me ask you that same question, Doc. Tell us the truth. Are we ready?
I think a lot of us are, but I also believe that a lot of us are not, because we have gotten just as comfortable
Thank
with
you.
the American
Thank
social
you.
network taking care of black women when we don't.
Wow.
Well, what about black women getting in on the pimping? Maybe if we could get them to go, okay, yeah, you are in the place that we really would like to offer all of us to be. Why don't you throw some of that shit out the back door? Why don't you quit?
Nah, I know what you're saying.
No, that's not good.
That ain't
That's
gonna
not good.
work. You know why?
That's not good.
You know
Here's the
why?
problem.
Because
Here's
people.
the problem.
Hold on, James,
The
and I'm gonna
problem
come to
that
you.
the black
James,
woman
can
has
you
to
hear me?
deal
James,
with. Just like we have to deal with whether or not
He can't
we're
hear.
ready for the responsibility and exclusive
that's not
accountability for her needs. The black woman, and this is her issue, and I know it because I get the emails from sisters all the time. They have been so used to being in control of the family and
They can't
calling
give
the
it
shots
back.
in the community, that many of them, even the ones who cry out saying they want a break and want a good brother to give them a break, but because they have been in control for so long, a lot of them are not willing to relinquish
They're
that
not
control
willing to
Wow.
share
relinquish.
power with you.
Wow.
And that is her dilemma.
Which brings us back to dough. It's gonna have to be smoke in the city on some escape from New
yeah.
York type shit before we
No.
get to where we need to be.
Wow.
It brings us to white women.
Go in, James. Go in.
It brings us to white women, and why so many brothers who do become successful choose white women, because it's hard to find a black woman that's going to play that position. Because of slavery, they've gotten used to being the leader, the leader. You know, this is just a legacy of slavery, and a lot of sisters are still playing with that 1958 playbook that brothers have to fuck with them, and we don't. And so many of them don't like giving up that power, and they'd rather be miserable and keep the power than let it go and be happy.
Right,
So,
because
so a lot of them got that. Overall, what I'm saying is they have that mouth, and they don't know when to shut up and play their position, and they're playing themselves because, like I said, brothers don't have to fuck with them.
If we're loyal to our community, though, we do.
There you
and I
go.
do agree with you that when it comes to, here's what I find. I find that it is the black man's overvalue and overestimation of white women vis-a-vis post-traumatic slavery disorder and self-hatred that brings them to the white woman.
Wow.
In fact, Frantz Fanon, the great African psychiatrist, wrote a very good book that I recommend to everyone called Black Skin, White Mass. And he was married to a white woman.
Oh, yeah.
But at least he was honest enough to admit that it is our inferiority complex and our worship and value of white culture that attracts us to white women. But I agree with you. Once a black man has experienced the white woman, as I've seen in brothers, because I've never dated outside of my race, but once they have experienced that woman's ability to be subservient and humble and sharing with her man, it's difficult for them to go back to black women. That's what I'm hearing. It may have been
no, that's not true.
Well, let's do it this way. Wait.
That keeps me with her.
Well, let's do it this way. We don't even have to use the white woman. We can use Brazilian women.
I'll give you another. We can use Chinese women.
We can use
I have a mentor of mine who's a psychologist from the Caribbean, very well-respected neuropsychologist. He's married to a Chinese woman. And he told me once at a conference, we were there at the psychology conference together, and he said, Brother Umar, I love what you stand for. Don't change it. But I want to tell you something. My Chinese woman, there's no black woman I would ever change her in for. He said, when I come home, my food is ready. When I want sex, it's already ready. He said she basically almost worships the ground that I walk on. And he said, I would never give that up for a black woman. And he said, for you, when you do get married, try to find a sister from the Caribbean or from the continent, because the way that African-American women are socialized, they're not good marriage prospects. Now, of course, I disagree with him, but I understood his point because I hear it from many black men who date outside their race, not just white women, Chinese, Asian, or what have you, that women of other cultures have not been masculinized. They have not been masculinized. They are still feminine, and they love their femininity. Only the black woman is made to feel that she has to function as a man in order to be successful.
And does not understand that we are not intimidated. We are not. Yeah, just a second. It is not that what they don't understand is that, and I get this all the time, black men are intimidated by strong black women. First off, let's define strong. That's Rosa Parks. That's Sister Betty Shabazz. That's Sister Coretta Scott King. That's strong. Them the three strongest sisters I can think of, and I can't think of them in they man face. Second, I am not intimidated by women who consider themselves quote unquote strong because of how much money they got or something some other white man gave them or the way that they act. I am repulsed by it because it comes across as masculine energy, and masculine energy as a heterosexual male is not what I'm about.
Now let me say this.
Wait,
James.
Calling it that. Can we stop calling it that? It's not masculine energy. It's bullshit because they think this way, because they think in order to be queen, they got to castrate the king. That's what this shit is all about.
James, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you often.
I don't call it, I'm going to just say something and let it go. I don't call it masculine energy because you're in my face yelling, and bitch, I can't hit you.
No,
That's
James.
why it's not masculine energy.
James, that's not true. That's not true. I don't disagree with you often, but in order to castrate a king, you got to come up with some balls from somewhere, regardless to how big they or small they might be. It is not that they walk the whole road. They start down the masculine road. They start down when they go to corporate America and get to running shit. The shit that they can't turn off when they get to the house
is corporate
corporate masculine energy.
That's not masculine energy. It's masculine energy. It's because masculine. If you meet me on a masculine plane. It's just you've been given a certain, what's the word I want to say, permission by society to talk out of pocket, to be out of pocket. And the fact, like, it goes down to, I can't hit you.
Well, it goes back to the double
women
standard.
don't talk the same way to niggas that will hit them.
Right.
That's true.
It's the double standard that I talk about.
We
James,
should never consider nor condone putting our hands on black women.
I don't, but that don't mean you can't. That don't mean you can't pay somebody.
I don't condone hitting a woman at all. I'm not saying
Yes,
that.
James.
But what I'm saying is some black women are encouraged by the fact you can't hit them.
Yes.
Well, listen.
They
Let
don't
me
talk to,
let me
that
just say
dude,
this.
Crazy Tony, that'll
But
knock,
see, that's
that'll knock
because
the eye to the
you're
next
dealing with
pocket.
the
They don't talk to you
she-male
like that.
personality. SHE-MALE. What is a she-male as opposed to a female?
Uh-oh.
A she-male
Come on with
is a
it.
black woman who has been conditioned, educated, and nurtured by the American social order to conduct, think, behave, and feel as a man. Physically, she has breasts. Physically, she has a womb. Physically, she looks like a woman.
But spiritually?
Psychologically, she has the personality of a European alpha male.
Wow.
Damn. All right.
Oh.
Okay. Let's stop. Let's just stop right here for 1 second. We have to absorb that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's drink that in.
Now, that was very, very profound and poignant. The thought I have is, science, you've heard of that test where they put the frog
In the water and
then
turn the fire up
slowly. As they're raising the heat, the frog won't move.
Who's getting hot in here?
If there's a massive jump in temperature,
Anybody else hot?
the frog will jump out.
Oh shit! This is hot.
Right. If there's a massive, raise in temperature, the frog will jump out. But if there's a gradual raising of the temperature, the frog will sit there until he cooks to death. What has happened, being in this society, the rules of engagement of how we should interact on a spiritual level, on a qualitative level, has been cooked out of us. Slowly.
Crock pot, not fried.
So when the brother speaks of the she-male mentality and the refusal to relinquish control, first off, on a spiritual level, relationship is a school, a reflective classroom where the teacher and the student oscillate from moment to moment. In one moment, you're the teacher delivering a message. In the next moment, you're the student receiving one. But because most people look at relationship as something to acquire, right? Acquisition, as opposed to something that is self-revealing. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't see it as a classroom that reveals knowledge about themselves. They see it as something to acquire.
But that's why we get into the relationship. One of the reasons why relationships in the black community are so psychopathological is because we engage the relationship as a drug. People get into relationships to find someone to distract them from their personal bullshit.
Yep,
They're
keep
not
you from you.
interested in growth.
Amen.
They're not looking for someone to help them grow. They're looking for someone to help them feel better about the fact
that they
don't want to do anything about where they are.
Wow.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Wow. No, but that's the same shit. I got this line of T-shirts. This is not a plug, but I got a line of T-shirt that says, "Trauma and forgiveness have been married longer than you. You can't even get to the evolutionary process of forgiveness unless you've been hurt." This is why I say the black community, in my opinion, sometimes is devoid of forgiveness, the one thing that will bring us together. But they use enmity and are hurt against each other. That's why I say we don't have no room to hurt each other, because we're already pre-programmed to have this enmity between us to fight each other, men and women. That Willie Lynch shit. I'm sorry, we got callers.
You want to add ego to trauma. It's not just the trauma, it's the traumatized ego. See, the reason why black men have difficulty relating to each other and to their women and vice versa, black women have a serious relationship problem with each other and with black men, is because of the traumatized ego. See, we're not allowed to be what we want to be in this society. And as a result of that, our egos are not given full expression to their desire. So when we come amongst other oppressed people, our ego tells us that all the other oppressed people should listen to us and follow us, because although we're oppressed as well, we're better than they are. Woo. So it's not just the trauma, it's the traumatized ego. And that's why black organizations tend to suffer as much as they do, because when you get 25 oppressed black men in the same room who have not been given an opportunity to express their talent in the larger white society, they become dictators and tyrants in the black church, dictators and tyrants in the black organizations, and dictators and tyrants in their own homes. The black family, that is an outgrowth of the ego that has been castrated.
Wow. Speak more on the black church.
You know what? Whoa. We got to get this caller through. They've been on for so long. Caller, Mighty Quinn. No, Carlton. Carlton, you're in the building. Talk to us, man.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, you're on live. Let's go.
All right, I wanted to answer the question that you had asked about 10 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. But I forgot one of the... could you repeat the question?
Well, what was the question? I mean,
we don't know.
We asked 37
that
questions.
Happens around here a lot. That happens a lot. You'll have a thought.
Yeah, the science of women, the science of money, and the science of law to your son.
Okay, so which one would you teach? The order, right? That would be first. Like, which one would you teach first? Would you teach relationships to your son? Would you teach money to your son? Or would you teach the nature of women to your son?
Well, most definitely relationships and women. Because that's the first thing a man is gonna run into even before he's a man. You know, that's a universal thing with all men.
Wow.
It's the person asking the money is, I put the money last because like money, that's more of a tool thing. It's gonna come and go, and it's not worth as much as people think it is. You know.
Well, we aggrandize it for sure. Thanks for the call, caller. We appreciate it. Let me ask Dr. Umar really quickly. What order would you teach, brother?
I would teach financial science first. Financial science is the key to empowerment and independence. And I think that the science of women goes along with that. I don't see that as separate. Those two go together because women, by nature, are going to look for a man who can provide and protect. That includes finances. And also, if you're a black man in the American social order, you need to understand women because you do have that class of women out there who will latch onto you as a successful black man to try to kill your pockets. I mean, look at the Tiger Woods situation, and he had no business going outside of his race anyway, but there's a lot of black men who are even married to black women or white women who are going through these divorces and are losing half of their estate with a woman they've only been with for maybe 6 months. I know of a gentleman who was married 3 months, and even though he was only married to her for 3 months, she was able to get half of his savings, half of his earnings, half of his retirement, half of his 401, and half of the business. So when it comes to dating and economics go hand to hand because if you don't choose your dating partners correctly, it can end up destroying your economics.
No, Lord, the ass will come up missing.
Prenup? No, he didn't ask for a prenup. And prenups is a very controversial topic in and of itself because a lot of brothers are misinformed about the prenup in that they think you have to have something already when you sign it. No, prenup can also include that even if you guys build something, that what you actually invested in the building of that business stays with you. So you don't have to be a millionaire to get a prenup. The prenup even includes what will be accrued during the course of the marriage as well. But of course, a lot of sisters are opposed to the prenup idea. But me personally, I think it's something that needs to be looked at because marriages are economic institutions, and you cannot be so foolish as to think that just because y'all love each other today, if it doesn't work out over the long haul, the only thing that becomes important is how much you are worth.
Okay, well,
and he brings a great point. Marriage, in and of itself, is the number one indicator in America, is the number one indicator of financial success. But the reverse of that is divorce is the number one indicator of poverty.
Wow.
People take major hits when they divorce.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a real situation. Let's do this. We've only got a minute left.
No, we got 6 minutes left.
No, we got 5 minutes. Oh, that's right. My bad. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got a little bit more time. James Hanna. I want you to answer that question. Which one you gonna teach your kid first? I know the doctor really killed it, but I want to hear your point.
I'm gonna teach my sons money first. Money first. Just don't. My thing I always tell them, which I've already, is just don't be a sellout. Don't be a coon. Don't be a punk for money. Make as much money as you can, where you still maintain your manhood. That's what I respect.
Wow, that's good stuff.
Because I know some rich bitch niggas out there.
Without question, and it's getting even worse, gentlemen. Why? Because with the rise of the homosexual agenda, it's being difficult for masculine black men to make a living, to get an education.
Yes,
if
it's
you
hard
look at a lot
not
of the well-educated black men, college professors, those in the entertainment industry, those working in big business on Wall Street, many of them have adopted a very effeminate posture. Even if they are still heterosexual, they have adopted a very effeminate posture in public as a means of being successful. So without question, there is a war on black masculinity.
This is why I say, let me finish this, James. James, let me finish this real quick. This is why I say the black man in his natural state. This is why I would say white people are naturally afraid of us. Because wherever there's intelligence, there's revolution.
Yeah.
A black man naturally is intelligent and naturally will stand up against shit that ain't in alignment with his core.
Yeah, that equals smarts.
So just look at it. They have to make us fearful of them. They have, and in order to do that, they have to become the authority or the author of shit. If you look up neuro-linguistic programming, they say 98% of people just in their waking conscious mind will lean toward the authority of someone. So if you walk into a building and they've got plaques on the wall that says, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that, people will say, oh, I'll listen to him before I listen to this other person who don't have those plaques. It's a neuro-linguistic programming. Symbols, the linguistic part deals with symbols and words. If I come in a building and see that you have a diploma, now you're an authority. We have been subjugated to follow the authority of sciences that were originally created by us.
Yes, and now these people have receipts.
This is why I say when the black man stands up, he's angry. Barack Obama has done us a disservice because he refuses to stand up. He gives us an example of kowtowing.
Oh, yeah.
To get in and get along.
Well, the good thing about his presidency being almost over is at least he'll get to say the word black again.
But no, he is going to be the new Malcolm X etched on our grandmother's paintings in the wall. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
You remember we had Martin Luther King and Jesus on the wall.
And ain't none of them on dollar bills.
But now it's going to be Barack Obama.
Of course.
That is now the new template of black masculinity.
I got booed off stage for saying when he was about to be reelected, for asking this question, what has Barack Obama done for black people directly?
And let me just say, man, just on some
I can give you one better than that. I brought up reparations, and some niggas said he's our reparations.
Wow. The coonology that's going on in this country is amazing.
You know when I knew that Barack Obama, and again,
Samboology.
The president, what we don't seem to understand is that the president, the office of president of the United States, is the head seat on a roller coaster that takes a given path already. This dude was not going to change the black national anthem to Flashlight. We wasn't going to be singing Flashlight.
But you got black people crying. Oh, we went through so much.
Oh, absolutely.
We are crying and dying to be accepted by those
so bad.
Who are afraid of us, who fear us. And the only way to keep us down is to keep us ignorant of who we really are.
He lost me when he didn't try to. He lost me when he let Troy Davis die. That was the day he lost me. And then he really lost me when he gave the gay basketball player a phone call. Because I was like, damn, you can give a gay basketball player a phone call, but you can't give a big on death row a phone call.
It wasn't neither one of those for me. It was Monsanto. It was Monsanto for me. When he let that shit slide, I was like, yeah, dude, you right over there with them.
Well, you know.
Without question. Well, remember, every president is given they have two policy initiatives, major for the office. One is domestic and one is international. This is for every president. As he said, the face on the roller coaster that's already in motion. One policy initiative domestic and one international. Obama's international policy orders was to recolonize Africa, which he has done through the African Project, successfully putting U.S. military personnel in every major location on the continent that has a high deposit of natural oil and gas.
Yeah.
His domestic policy is, by the time he leaves office, is to make homosexuality totally accepted in the black community so that it can be used as a population control strategy. Because 2 gay men can't have a child, 2 gay women can't have a child. So for every homosexual black couple you see, you're looking at 3 black children who will not be born.
Hey, so on that note, damn, we got 30 seconds. Brother Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson, man, I so appreciate you being on the show. Where can people find you? Website, email address?
Website, drumarjohnson.com. That's DRUMAR Johnson.com. They can order the new book, Psychoacademic Holocaust, Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys. They can also order their Unapologetically African t-shirt, because one of the things we talked about today is the need for everyone to become unapologetically African and stop being afraid to be black. On Twitter, at Dr. Umar Johnson. And if they need to reach me directly, area code 215-989-9858. Again, 215-989-9858. And I'll look to come out to California real soon.
Hey,
Come on,
man,
bro.
when you come, you
Love
know
to
you
have
got to
you.
come in studio and we do it again and take off, man.
Better come here, bro. Please.
Without question.
Man, James Hanna, where can we find you, brother?
Let's see. Right now, just Twitter. My Twitter name is Your Uncle James.
Yo, Uncle James, get at him.
Ah!
Geoff Brown?
At GB Funny Style, that's the Twitter, and you can find me on Facebook spewing more of this stuff that really pisses you off.
And you know what? I'm urging everybody to buy my t-shirts, zowhatorders@gmail.com, zowhatorders@gmail.com. If you buy a t-shirt today, I'll throw in a free copy of my book, The Rebirth of Seeds. Sure. All the people who have ordered some Rebirth of Seeds, I know I'm mailing your stuff out today. I appreciate everybody that's been reaching out. Again, zowhatorders@gmail.com is how you get my Zowhat t-shirts. Follow me on Twitter, @ZoWilliams. Of course, Facebook. I'm all over Facebook, the Zowhat discussion group, the Zoe Williams fan page, Zowhat personal page, Zoe Williams personal page. Just get at me. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And, man, we going to do this again. I appreciate y'all. See you next week. Deuces.